Economic Development Corporation meeting for Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. I call this meeting to order at 6:08. Ken, would you say the prayer and I'll do the pledge? Yes.
Father, we come to you this evening and asking you to bless our meeting and to help us to make right decisions to better our community. We especially ask to continue giving comfort to the families in the Hill Country who've lost children, moms and dads, and even grandparents. We know there's only one perfect place, and that's where there is no pain and tribulation, and that's heaven, where you are. And all we have to do to get there is to accept you in our hearts. We thank you for everything you do for us, and we ask all of this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to discussion and action item. Number 3, discussion and action item. I'd like to welcome the returning board members. I thank you for your service, and also, Ron, we welcome you to the board. It's really exciting to have both you and Gary with us. We're really optimistic about that. So thank you for helping your community. Okay, number 2, discuss and take possible action on board officer positions. Currently, the president, Josh, is off to law school. We are all applauding him. The president is open. Vice president is Sandra Loaiza. The current secretary is David McGinty. And the treasurer is Ken Tyner. Do I hear any motion for possible board officer appointees?
I make a motion that President Mark Parker and the rest of the board stay the same.
Mark, are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Ken Tyner. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mark, if you'd take the president's chair, I'll turn the meeting over to you. Congratulations. Yes, you can clap.
I think we're a great board. I really appreciate everybody's efforts that we put together here. I think now in the meeting we've come up to the citizen comments. And as I understand it, we have Miss Melanie Oldham.
Good evening, board. Again, my name is Melanie Oldham. I live at 1206 West Broad Street, and I'm here to speak as the president. Thank you. And I know y'all had to cancel different meetings, and when I was in Germany, I stayed up because they're 7 hours ahead and tried to listen, but the microphone wasn't working. But I think now y'all got all the kinks worked out. But I prayed about this, what I'm going to say tonight, and I know Rachel said she's going to record it. I just wanted to go on the record. There's a lot of positive things that the Freeport EDC has done. But for instance, our Mayor Kane over and over is talking about how we need to get new faces, more people on our city boards. And I talked to Mr. Bachman about it, so he's not going to be surprised, but there was 5 people that applied for the EDC position. But he said he was asked, even though he's on the Planning Commission, which is a big, important committee, he was asked to be on this committee because some people want team players. I'm not sure what that means, if you have to go along with what leadership says. But again, nothing against Mr. Bachman, but there was 5 people, new people that never had wanted to serve on a board. And it was, well, just look back at the minutes who set that up. So nothing against you. You're wonderful. I watch you on the Planning Commission. You do a great job. And so Also, I want to mention about, you're going to discuss the 2025-26 Freeport Brownfield program. When it was discussed in city council, I didn't have any time, and I kept raising my hand. I realized I couldn't speak anymore, but I know this is about the contamination that Robert and David and a lot of people have known about for a long time on the EDC property, which is over there by the Gore's old tanks that's in the soil. I have let both of them know a long time ago about it, and now I don't know if a developer found out about it or why, but the good news is there's a bunch of money they're gonna pay Terracon to do a second study. They did one like 8 years ago, but it was not a thorough study, and TCQ wants a thorough study of that land. Because I think you have to be fair to developers, and if there's contamination and there's gonna be a cost, you gotta tell them. You can't just act like it's not there. Now, it may be something not that major, but it needs to be done right. And I talked to Mr. Earps with Terracon, and I think y'all need to keep an eye on that though, because again, that turns away developers if they find out they haven't been given all the information. And I think Wade, or somebody, even though he's no longer Main Street Director, is gonna give you an update on Main Street. Well, I have been for a while on the Historical Main Street Board, and I can tell you myself, Lucy Martinez, Mr. Chris, Betty Lopez, Sandra Levy, and the new guy, we are totally upset that because I won't go into the details, but Mr. Petty and others has delayed us 3 months on having a meeting. The reason why they said, Mr. Wade resigned from Main Street Coordinator 3 months ago, and Mr. Petty assigned Robert to look through 33 applications for Main Street Coordinator. For whatever reason, it took 3 months. This was the reason we were given. We could not meet with Main Street. The good news is Main Street has accreditation, but if we don't have a coordinator to do quarterly reports, we can lose it, just like that. And unfortunately, there are people, former people with the city, that really did not want to revitalize downtown. They had plans, working with a couple developers, to use all the TERS money, $800K, to do what the developers were asking to be done on the river. And by the way, I got this from our former city manager when he used to talk to me. So, just to let y'all, you need to be aware of this. And I think y'all are a good board, but you don't have to be, quote, team players. Ask questions, ask Robert questions. He gets upset when I ask him questions, but we have the right as the public to ask Robert, what have you brought in? What businesses? I know you brought in Starbucks way back when and Taco Bell, and I know you got to keep things secret from the public as long as you can. But give us some reports that you're doing something. I know it's secretive, but I think would really make your EDC board look better if you give some information to the public. And that's been lacking for a long time. And Mr. Parker, I'm glad you're here because I think you understand. It's important not to just keep secrets from the public until the very last moment when you think that we might put in some last minute comments. And that's what was discussed at the city council meeting. They wait to the very last moment and say, oh, by the way, we have a month to decide on this and get public comments. That's not the way to do it. So, also, I work with a nonprofit in Beta Brazoria, Clean Air, Water, and Government, and I had talked to Robert about possibly renting the 2 buildings downtown where the alley is, and he said that you're going to discuss it, but they're not in condition for anybody to rent them. So he said, well, what about the Gore building by the river? And the thing is, that scares me that all these years I've been hearing conversations about, well, we're going to decide if we're going to put money into the 2 buildings. One of them you ended up demolishing because you couldn't decide what to do with it. So I hope that y'all make some decisions to the public.
Ms. Old, your time is up.
Okay. And you need to get a new lawyer because, I'm sorry, Olson & Olson is not a good firm.
Thank you, Ms. Oldham.
Mr. President, if I could just have a point of privilege, if you could, Wade is with us tonight and would like to talk about Kid Fest #4, And Ashley is also with us. She's going to talk about 1, 2, and 3, so that Wade doesn't have to stay. If we could move 4 up to the top, is that
Yeah,
possible?
of course, yeah. So we're going to, item number 4. We do? Okay. Consent agenda, approve the meeting minutes from the last meeting. Do I have a motion for that? Have you guys had time to read those?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it, yes.
Okay. So the consent agenda moving, we're going to approve the minutes for the past meeting. Boy, this thing, whoever fixes this up, I'm going to shoot them. I see it on the screen, but it's not there. See if we can move it. Maybe I think that's good. So the consent agenda we're going to approve, I've got for the meeting minutes for May 13th, 2025. Can we take a look at the financials? Okay. Oh, yeah, I gotta have a vote on that. Is everybody in favor of that?
Say aye. Aye.
That's good. I love it. We'll get through this. And now the financials. Yes, doing this right here.
So since we didn't get to meet last month, I did work up May's financials that would have come before you last month, and then I worked up June's that'll come before you tonight. However, when we got over here tonight, I realized there was a mistake on the June report. So I'll read through that one, and if there's any questions about May, then I'll be happy to answer. It is in your packet though. So for June financials, through June 30th, sales tax was received in June 2025 for April of 2025. The EDC received $112,389.73. The EDC Fund 30, as of June 30th, the revenues were over expenditures by $48,497. The EDC Projects Fund 31 had a fund balance of $1,105,789. The EDC Marketing Fund 33 had a fund balance of $159,842. And the TERS Fund 70 had a fund balance of $939,443. And that's all I have, unless somebody has questions.
Can I get a motion to approve the financials as read?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Does everybody agree with that? All those in favor say aye.
Ayes or nays? Aye.
All those not in favor? Good. I think we did that unanimously. I am impressed with the TERS fund balance. That's really a good deal. Man, that's just been awesome. And great job, by the way, my dear. Excellent. So, where are we at here? Consent agenda, discussion and action items. Discussion, not yet. We're gonna do down to number 4, board and executive director comments.
No, from discussion and action.
Just
on item
Dylan?
number 4, we're switching.
Yeah,
Okay.
not Roman numeral 4, Arabic numeral 4.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Roman numeral 3, part 4.
Got it. Main Street updates from the previous month. Dylan,
All right, so I have no Main Street updates as I am not the Main Street coordinator. I'm here to talk about Kid Fest. Since there is not a Main Street coordinator at the moment, we don't want Kid Fest to fall to the wayside, especially since this upcoming summer, Kid Fest goes into its 15th year and is one of the biggest events held downtown. So before the last city manager left, it was decided to kind of divide duties amongst myself, Robert, and some of the other department heads to make sure that this event takes place. Last year, we went through Rock the House inflatables out of Lamarck for all of the inflatables. They were extremely professional, setting up 5 to 7 different inflatables, staffing it, doing it all within just a couple of hours, and then tear down was an hour all together. They had their work trucks, trailers, all their staff were in uniforms. They could be easily identified. And so they sent us a quote for the inflatables this year, totaling $9,120. Now, at that amount, through the city, a department head would have to try and obtain 3 different quotes, try and, compare apples to oranges. What you also get the issue with inflatable companies, which I learned last year, is that you have to be insured through the state of Texas. Rock the House out of Lamarck is insured. Again, they're extremely professional. And so I'm up here today to request that the Freeport EDC foots the bill on the inflatables for Kid Fest. And then I will be helping coordinate the rest with the Salvation Army, providing cooking, providing hot dogs, having local organizations set up in front of the museum. Pretty much the same setup as Kid Fest has been previous years. I've worked 4 Kid Fest events now myself, so yeah. Robert, did you want to add anything?
It's been something that we participated in each year. We certainly have the funds in our marketing, and that's what they're for. It's one of the most successful ones. Am I correct?
There's thousands in attendance. I
Yeah.
mean, if we wanted, real numbers, we could always do the geocaching
Right.
thing, but it is so difficult to, you can't stop and
Follow
count
everybody around.
Yeah.
It is well attended though, and it's a wonderful event for the town. It's well known. My recommendation would be let's go ahead and fund it for this year.
And the tentative date right now is September 6th. It used to be held in August when it's extremely hot and miserable. Last year, we moved it into early September because of Hurricane Beryl, and a lot of people were actually thankful for the date. It was actually a little bit cooler. Folks had a good time. So we are looking at Saturday, September 6th for Kid Fest. I believe 3 to 7 is the duration of the event typically.
I appreciate your work. Thank you so much. I've been to Kid Fest. It's just incredible. It's a really good thing. So as read, do I have a motion for the $9,120?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Bachman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those not opposed? And think that passed unanimously.
Yes.
Is this what we gave last year?
So last year, Anna Silbus handled most of the coordination, so I can't speak as to what was given last year. I'm sorry. It's okay. I want to say off the top of my head, EDC has typically in the past given 5,000.
Yeah. I'll find that number out for you and get back with you.
That's okay.
And again,
Yes, sir.
the Brazos Sport Breakfast Lions Club has agreed to buy all the hot dogs and pass them out.
That's
They
right.
eat- Salvation Army cooks them. We do the hard work.
Yes, yeah.
I saw that last year too. Sorry about it. I didn't ask if we had any questions or anything.
It's okay. If y'all have them now, I can answer.
Yeah. I believe it was 5,000 last year. That's
think
what I
so.
remember. Any other questions?
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Dillon. Appreciate you.
Thank y'all. All right.
Where are we at here?
Back to Roman numeral 3, item 1.
So we're in discussion action items, discuss and take possible action on budget items for the fiscal year 25-26.
Yes, Mr. President, we'd like to present the budget. We've been working, we wanted to do this last month, but as you know, we couldn't have a meeting. Ashley is here to talk about the budget. I have to give her a lot of credit and a lot of thanks, and Rachel too. They've done yeoman-type work on this budget, and it's very similar to last year's, in that, you know, we did pretty well in hitting our projections. And so there aren't any surprises, but still, we worked very hard on going over this with a fine-tooth comb. So Ashley, I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so there wasn't a whole lot of changes, honestly. The sales tax, we did meet with the comptroller's office. The city, overall, we're expecting about a 2% increase, so the EDC would get a third of that. So that's been reflected in here. Other than that, salaries, we budgeted for a 3% COLA. We adjusted benefits based on that increase. We're also expecting a slight increase in our TMRS, so that is reflected in the budget.
That's the retirement.
Yes, sorry, the retirement. Benefits, we still don't have a solid number for the group insurance, so we as at the city level, we are budgeting for a 15% increase right now. We do expect that to go down a little bit. So overall, this budget is looking to bring roughly $92,000 in additional revenue to the EDC. Rachel and I worked on the transfers again today. We're looking at a transfer to the projects fund of $650,000 and the transfer to the marketing fund of $75,000. That's roughly about what y'all do. The transfer is a little bit higher, and that's simply because there were a few projects that still had some money that needed to be allocated left over from this year. Did I miss anything?
Speaking of the special projects, that's the handout that I gave you. You can look on there and see that current projects that we have out is back to the $150,000 for the business improvement grant. We had increased it to $300,000 to cover Barrel, but we've put it back down to what it normally is. And then the ones listed underneath that for like Sit-in Bowl, 5 Cottages, those are the ones that are still have business improvement grants that are out. So those funds will be moved over from this year to next year. And then underneath that, you can see that we have plans for downtown and the 8.8 acres infrastructure, wayfinding efforts, and then of course, once the Freeport Parks project gets back on track, then we'll be able to start funding that again too.
I'd like to ask the board, as you recall, we increased the business improvement grant fund from the yearly 150 that we typically do to 300,000, and we did exceed 150. I just would like to know from the board if we'd like to go back down to 100. There's still a lot of work going on. If we'd like to go back down to 150, or do an increment in between, or how does everybody feel about that? And the only reason I ask is because there's still a lot of repairs due to Hurricane Beryl that are going on. How does the board feel?
So
I think,
repairs going on where? I missed an important part of that.
Oh, there's repairs going on. Last year, Ron, we have a business improvement grant that's $150,000 for businesses. And last year, due to Hurricane Beryl, we doubled that amount to $300,000, anticipating correctly the amount of people that were gonna need assistance to repair their businesses.
Yeah.
My question is, we had talked about it last year and we said, and then next year we'll go back down to 150. And I just wanted to ask the board, because there still are a lot of Beryl-related improvements going on, if we'd like to instead taper. I'm open to anything, you know, going back down to 150, or saying, well, maybe we ought to try and set it at 225 for this year, just to have a little more to help people out. Whatever the board's pleasure is, I'm, you know.
Yep, I always have to wonder if it's been a year since the event and they still hadn't asked for help. Are we trying to lead them to the trough to get them to drink, or
No,
just go ahead and say,
and
well,
I'm
that's
sorry, I
fast?
left out an important piece of information. A lot of people have had timelines disrupted because of back and forth with insurance is what has caused that. We had one business, I won't call the name, but that was working with insurance, they do very robust business here in town, and they were working with their insurance company, and it was, you know, they couldn't start the project because they hadn't gotten everything resolved. And I'm still hearing out there are people dealing with insurance issues. That's why my question.
Just to give you reference, looking at your packet, the fiscal year 24-25 business improvement grants, the green area, every one of those that are listed here were all barrel repairs, with the exception of Sweet Teas, which was a property improvement. But the Four Corners, Sit and Bull, the second Four Corners, Rhombus, and the Freeport Veterinary, they were all having barrel issues, and you can see how much was spent there. So just to give you a reference on how we helped with barrel and what that was contributing towards.
Okay.
Yeah, I think to reiterate, Ron, I think as a board, we've made some great decisions on some folks that have come in and needed help, you know, either signage or the roof or, you know, whatever, some infrastructure stuff. And I think, from my estimation, I think we should probably keep it at 300 till a little bit longer. That's my thought. I'll entertain that.
How does the rest of the board feel?
I think we should keep it for now, like it is.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
For how long?
It would be for the fiscal year. We would have it. Now, that's not to say it for sure would be used and then it just go back, but we would have that cushion to make timely grants to people. And it isn't just for Beryl. We did increase it so we can do our normal operations. I'd also point out, to the point that Rachel made, we had a few that were able to quickly get in grants. I recall the Four Corners Shopping Mart that got in a grant, because remember, you can apply for one of these a year. So if you want to continue improvements, the next year you can apply for another one. And we had a couple that applied in, what are we in, 24, 25, that applied in 23, 24 for that grant and snuck it in. So there's even more that did it based on Beryl. And again, I'm just picking up from discussions that I have with folks every day that there's still a little bit of a need for this.
I recognize that. Did you leave your phone down here? You can hear that all over the
I have
neighborhood.
one question for you, Miss Ashley.
Yes, sir.
You may have already covered it and I just missed it. What's with the huge reduction in professional services?
So during this year, I think it was around maybe February or March, I say we, meaning the finance department for the city, we created more specific line items for expenses, and then so we reclassed it. So your budget is still spending the same amount, it's just put in the
Different
right
categories.
expense
Okay, thank you.
category. However, now that you brought that up, I forgot to mention the best part of the budget is the three of us working together. Really, we hopped on a Teams call together, went line by line, and discussed every item. So overall, your revenues went up 92,000, and your expenses went down 98,000. So it's
Cool beans, thank you.
a nice looking budget.
One more rookie question. What is our fiscal year from when to when?
From October 1st to September 30th.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, actually, I'm looking at it, it looks like we're up about 2.5%, 3%, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So, man, good work. Whatever we're doing, let's keep it.
Okay.
You know, and Rachel and Ashley, thank you so much for your efforts and everything.
For sure.
Now, go ahead, Rachel, go ahead.
Just want to make sure, looking at those special projects, if there was any adjustments that you wanted made on any of the numbers, particularly the wayfinding, the Freeport Parks project, and the downtown and 8.8 acre infrastructure, if y'all are good with those numbers.
As you recall, we're still in that holding pattern with the Parks project due to the situation with IED Architects. That situation is continuing, but we want to be prepared. If you'd like to lower that, we certainly can. And, you know, I don't know what we're just kind of in a holding pattern with that. And basically, are you familiar with that, Ron?
No.
IED Architects has paused all projects with Freeport due to something I'll explain to you
Okay.
offline.
All right, so we're talking about leaving it at 300,000 for the rest of this fiscal year, or setting it?
For the next one, all this is for next. Yes, sir.
All right, I'm with you, let's go.
Okay. So the budgets, the ones I see for the wayfinding and the Freeport Parks project, I think we should just keep those right where they're at. That's my thing.
Here's my question, and I just had it coming in. I know Ashley and Rachel are probably glaring at me. With the signage, that was gonna be a lot of money, but it's gonna be a continuing, probably a 10-year endeavor. But we will talk about this in executive session more, but I'm wondering if we would like to flip those numbers to the signage and wayfinding being 150 to infrastructure being 200. And we'll talk about that in executive session as to why. Ashley, I'd love to hear the timeline that you're looking at. When does this need to be passed tonight, or how are we looking? I know we lost June.
Yeah, unfortunately. So I have to have the proposed city budget filed with the county and the city secretary by July 31st.
So it needs to be passed tonight.
Yes. Unfortunately, we did lose a month of work on budget. Rachel and I did have discussion that, given the current environment, all of the things going on right now, that this may wind up being a year that we sit down mid-year, maybe have to adjust something. But we'll keep a close eye on things and communicate what we find, if we find.
Anyone that has any more questions? Everything's pretty good shape. So I understand we're keeping the 300, and we're still gonna do the wayfinding and the Freeport project. We're gonna flip those two.
Is
Do
that
we?
what the board's pleasure is?
I'm fine with it.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll flip those.
So, yeah, the motion should be to adopt the budget with that one.
With that one change? Okay.
Two changes.
Okay.
I make the motion, we adopt the budget with the 2 changes.
So the business improvements will be 300,000, the infrastructure will be 200, and the wayfinding would be 150, is that correct?
That is correct. Do I have a second?
That's totally fine.
I will.
I think I have 2 seconds there. Thank you, guys.
That's all right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passed unanimously.
Once again, I'd like to thank Ashley and Rachel for the hard work that they put into this budget, and I thank the board. We were kind of up against the wall here due to last month, but I think we did a good job tonight. Thank you.
Also,
Blame me for last month. I'm the one that made the ruling that you guys couldn't meet without a board.
You did that.
Yeah, my fault.
while I'm still up here, next month, now that positions are set, we will have to get the banking stuff updated, so I will have that paperwork for y'all to vote on at our August meeting. Yeah, I know.
Terracon.
Okay. I don't have an update, unfortunately. For the Freeport Brownsfield.
We have to make the motion, they all voted, now we're on number 2. Okay, sorry, I got off key.
Freeport Brownfields program.
So the only update I have is the contract was signed, the master agreement for Terracon to be that consultant liaison for that grant, and that was sent back to Jessica Kemp is her name that
At Terracom.
we are working with at Terracon. I have not heard back since then. This all was like maybe just last week.
Right. The good news about going with Terracon, I think, is that they were the ones that helped us prepare the grant. They are familiar with it, and I was happy with that. Although I didn't influence anything, I was happy with that outcome because they're aware of the grant and of the objectives and all that, and it'll be all the more easy to administer. And I think we've got a very competent team at the city and the EDC working together to make sure this grant is a success.
Hopefully, we will have some forward momentum on it for me to report in August, now that contracts are sent in.
That's exciting. I like it. Good job, Ian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Any more questions there? Are we gonna do the Main Street?
Yes, I'll do it. Yes, Mr. President, this evening, I just wanted a brief announcement on the Main Street. Back in March, Irene Oconias asked the board, the Main Street Board, for patience, and she said we were going to start the application process. The city posted it and put it online. As you all recall, I was asked to help, and we're overseeing the Main Street program also because of my background in Main Street. But she asked the board, or told the board, that we would probably skip a meeting or two, but to have the subcommittees continue to meet. There's 4 subcommittees: design, organization, economic restructuring, and promotions. So I'm assuming they have done that. But we are now in the final phases of the application process. We had a total of 36 applicants, but I think 3 of those off the top were not even qualified because they weren't 18 and things like that, or didn't have a valid Texas license, et cetera. So it was, the number I always went with 33. And we are in the final interviews. We have those scheduled with Chief Howell for Thursday morning. And then soon thereafter, we'll have somebody. We're hoping to have somebody tonight, and unfortunately we can't, but we'll bring the person, should we hire them, next month.
I'm sorry, sir, but I'm on that board. The board members have asked that you bring that to our board, not let you decide.
They didn't, their time is done. That was not asked of me.
Yeah, Petty told you how to do it, and
Ms. Oldham, you can speak us through,
Melanie, Miss Oldham,
please.
please.
Public can't speak, but I'm on that board. He is not telling the truth. He cannot handpick that lady.
Mark, carry on.
I am so sorry.
Just carry on.
Let's move on.
Not allowed to stay. I'm on that.
Board and executive director comments.
He's not telling the truth. Sorry.
Thank you.
My mouth said.
Do we go to executive session now, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, let's go to executive session now, then you can come back and forth.
Let's do it. It is now 6:50 PM, and I hereby recess the regular session of the Freeport Economic Development Corporation meeting and do hereby convene into executive session in compliance with Texas Government Code Section 551.071 and 551.087.
Holy cow.
What the heck was that all?
Mark, easy with the